Yesterday was Easter, and millions of Christians all over the world, churches of every tribe, nation, and tongue, celebrated the resurrection of Christ. And John Calvin has a chapter called The Final Resurrection, which teaches us more implications for us based on Christ's resurrection. So this is what Calvin writes. He says, "The ancient philosophers anxiously discussed the sovereign good, and even contended among themselves over it. Yet none but Plato recognized man's highest good as union with God, and he could not even dimly sense its nature. Now, whenever we consider the resurrection, let Christ's image come before us. In the nature which he took from us, he so completed the course of mortal life that now, having obtained immortality, he is the pledge of our coming resurrection. From the miseries that beset us, we carry in our body the death of Jesus, so the life of Jesus may be manifested in us." 2 Corinthians 4. "And to separate him from ourselves it is not permissible, and not even possible, without tearing him apart. From this Paul argues, if the dead do not rise up again, then Christ did not rise up again." So Calvin starts off by citing Plato. And we must understand Calvin was very well read of the ancient philosophers. He has a list of names at the end of his institutes, and he's got tons of Greek poets and philosophers, including Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, Epicurus, Homer, just to name a few. And I think this is important for us to understand because Calvin did not live in a bubble. He was not hiding under a box. He was not sheltered. He knew the thoughts and the lifestyles of many well-known authors and of culture in his time. And even in that, he was unashamed to proclaim the message of Jesus. And he wrote in such a way that even non-Christians would respect his logic and his reasoning. And then Calvin goes on to talk about how Christ's resurrection is the pledge for our future resurrection. And he cites Corinthians here saying that we will all experience a bodily resurrection. So when Christ comes back, we will all be given new bodies, and that we will enjoy each other, be with God in the new heavens and the new earth. And I remember when I first learned about this in college, I was talking to my friends about what our resurrected bodies would look like. Would we all be 25? Would we all be in good shape? What's this going to look like? And the scriptures don't teach us those specifics. But what they do teach us is since we are unified with Christ, which is the ultimate good, since he was resurrected, so will we be. And I think we can learn from Christ's resurrection. He died on the cross and then he rose again. And at first the disciples didn't recognize him, but after he broke bread with them, they did. So Jesus kind of looked the same. He had a human body, but he was somehow different. And I think that's what we can look forward to when Christ returns. That's the hope that Easter and Jesus' resurrection fills us with.